So what is it like working from home as a pen tester? Now, I think this is a pretty common question a lot of people would be curious about, so we are going to seek to answer that in this video. What's up, guys? This is Ryan from elevatecyber. Now, you might have heard about a lot of pen testers working from home. What is that really like? Maybe you're not familiar with what it's like, right? You don't work in the field, perhaps, or maybe you have, but you're still working in the office and you might be looking for a more remote job, whatever the case may be. I think a lot of people experience work from home in the past year in some capacity, if you're in this field at least. But yeah, there's a lot of people I know looking to get in as well, so I'm going to distill that. And what I would really say, first of all, is that I always said this before, but when we did used to work in the office, it always felt like we would just go to a physical location just to work remote anyway. So I always made the joke, it's like, hey, we're going on-prem to work remote, right? Because we're always remoting into systems and connecting to things remotely. So it really felt, pretty much felt like that. And a lot of times, if you work for a bigger company, certainly a lot of Fortune 500 companies and things like that, you're going to have a team that is spread across different locations around the globe, across the country, whatever the case may be. So it's almost like you're already working remote in a certain sense, right? Remotely from each other. And really what this looks like is that you get a lot of the drawbacks of it without many of the benefits, right? So what I mean by that is, like, say your team is spread across like 5 locations. Maybe there's only one other person on your team at your physical office space, right? So basically you have the downside of you have to commute to work. You also have the downside of lack of face-to-face communication, if that's a big deal to you. To me, it's not personally, but I know a lot of people cite that as an issue. So, half your team or more than half your team might be elsewhere. And you're still going to have the drawbacks of people coming to your desk and things like that and wasting your time. But yeah, with working from home, as you could probably have gathered already, it's, in my opinion, a lot better, a lot more efficient way to do things. Now, I've worked in an office for, a couple of years now, a few years really. Let's see, 2016 was when I came on, and pretty much up until last year. Yeah, so like 4 years. I'm not the biggest veteran in the world, but I have experienced a lot of the, working in a cubicle at a physical office space location. And I've experienced work from home in the past year and going on into 2021. And I'm fortunate enough that my position will be fully a remote job even after all this, unless things change. But yeah, I'm happy to say this arrangement is so much better. And this is why I consider better. I'm also going to bring up some of the downsides that people cite, and you can kind of weigh out whether it's a downside for you or not. A lot of them aren't really downsides to me, but I have a particular lifestyle that I live that might be different than maybe you, a lot of other people, right? I'm not a family man or anything like that, so I don't have to worry about distractions in the home and things like that, or moving my family around and all of that. So maybe your mileage may vary. I'll let you be the judge of that. Now, the first real benefit that I would cite with the work from home stuff is that there's so much less wasted time than there was before, right? Because you don't have to commute, obviously, right? Now, here's something that your mileage may vary, right? Your commute time before might have been longer than for other people, right? For some people, maybe they live right across the street from their work. They don't really think it's a big deal. But for most of us, we're going to be wasting a lot more time than you'd think. I remember when I used to work in the office, I used to listen to audiobooks on the way to and from work. And I was surprised every day, even though it didn't seem like I was that far away from the office, every day I would get an hour of audiobook listening knocked off every single day. And I'm like, wow, that really opened my eyes. Like, wow, I'm actually losing an hour. Or if I wasn't listening to these audiobooks, I'd be losing an hour of my day every single day. And compound that, 52 weeks, 5 days a week, minus a couple holidays, obviously, in your time, your PTO. But still, we're looking at a significant number of hours gone. And that's assuming you don't take a lunch break and go somewhere to eat with your coworkers, right? Now, obviously, There is some benefit to networking with people, most certainly, but a lot of the interactions you have with your coworkers is just kind of like you guys killing time, wasting time, right? I mean, how much of your conversation is actually productive to the work environment, really, right? And so, yeah, that's another avenue where you'd be wasting time. Sometimes people will be at your desk, right? I'm sure anyone that's worked in an office has the experience of someone will just be standing by their desk or come up to them when they're at their desk and just stand there and ask them questions and derail them from whatever they're working on, right? It's not the same as when someone pings you, right? You can say, you can tell them, I'll get to you in a second, versus if someone walks up to your desk, standing there, just waiting on you. I mean, you don't really have as much leeway. I mean, you could tell them, hey, I'll get back to you later, but I mean, it's annoying, right? And it can really derail you from your projects and things that you actually need to get done. So that is something that can be eliminated by working from home. I mean, at the same time, one concern, right, is that people would used to be, particularly like the older generation, they were concerned that, hey, we won't have the same collaboration that we would have when we were all in the office together. And that's simply not true. I mean, we're in 2021 right now. The technology is quite amazing. Microsoft Teams and all these collaborative tools. It's really made it in my view, a pretty seamless experience to interact with your teammates, to stay current with what's going on, and to be able to communicate effectively and push projects forward. So I've found that between all the technology that's available today, this has been entirely not an issue whatsoever for me. And another thing that I would say that is a factor when it comes to working from home, right, is like I alluded to earlier, what is your situation at home? If you have like a huge family, maybe there's a lot of distractions, but one argument that I would make there is like, you're going to be compensated for the fact that you're a pen tester, right? Like it's a pretty decent salary on average that you're going to get. And so if you land a pen testing job, you could very easily, and especially if you know that work from home is going to be a more permanent thing for you, longer term thing, you could easily take some of the money coming in and allocate it towards creating a nice work environment for yourself where you have a quiet space to yourself and you're not going to be interrupted or distracted as much versus, just out in the living room with the family bothering you, distracting you, right? I think a lot of people in the last year have learned how to really be more efficient working from home, right? Not distracting each other as much, letting their family get their work done and things like that is a learning curve for us all, right? But I think that I think it's not really as big of an issue as a lot of people, certainly than a lot of people initially thought. But I would say now, especially, it's just something that could easily overcome by the advice I gave there. Just create your own work environment, your own workspace that people will leave you alone, know that you're doing work during certain hours, right? I don't really think it's a big deal, though. I'm not really speaking from experience here. I live alone, so I don't have to worry about that. But I mean, I've heard a lot of people make it work just fine. So I think for most people, this wouldn't be too big of a deal. Now, another nice benefit, other than saving time and all that, right, that comes from working from home is that it's a lot easier to do your own independent research, which this is a big point when it comes to security, right? When it comes to security, there's a lot of things you need to be current on, stay up to date on. And let's be honest, if you're in an office environment, right, a lot of times, a lot of our security sites and tools and things that we use for researching this stuff is blocked on the network or is unsafe to bring into like your corporate environment. You don't want to pose extra security risk to your company, obviously. But if you're at home, you got your access to your home machines, you can actually test out certain vulnerabilities, level up your skill set during some of the times where you have a little bit less work going on, and you can actually do some research on stuff with your own devices. So that's actually something that does not get talked about a lot, that is a huge benefit when it comes to working from home. You can dive into this stuff. You can have more time to work on it and to improve and to build up your skill set. You don't have to wait till after work. If you now, provided that you're still getting stuff done at your job and you're being efficient with everything and you're still putting in your efforts there. Sometimes you're going to have periods of the day or of the week where it's just a slow week, slow day, whatever, especially around the holidays when a lot of people are going on vacation. If you're at an office, you just have to sit there and stare at the screen, right? Or, talk to Bob and tell him, hey, let's take like an hour-long lunch break today. You know what I mean? It would be time completely wasted, right? But now, because we're working from home, if you ever have times like that, days like that, you can actually be productive. And I'm not even saying like, hey, go do your own work on your own stuff. I'm saying like you could be productive in the sense that you'd improve your skill set, which will in turn improve what you're able to provide to your company, right? So it's actually helping the company as well. So that is like one of the hidden things not a lot of people talk about, but it's definitely a benefit from working from home. And now, obviously, at this point, if you can't tell, I'm a huge proponent of this. Maybe you have some opposing viewpoints. Let me know down in the comment section below. Another thing I'll say is it depends on what area of security you work in, right? If you're doing things that require you to be on-prem and do like some physical pen testing, IoT devices, things like that, well, you're probably going to have to work in the office. And especially as things open up, you're probably going to have to work in the office more and more. But if you are like me and you're doing a lot of like web application security, things like that, you're going to have more time available to you to not have to go into an office, right? So yeah, definitely keep that in mind if you're interested in the work from home stuff. Look at the jobs you're applying to because it kind of depends on the security jobs, even within pen testing, right? Like I said, a lot of the red teaming jobs are like that as well, where you have to go into an office sometimes because sometimes you'll have to do some physical pen testing and social engineering with actual people, face-to-face, things like that. It really depends on the job description. So definitely keep that in mind if this is something that you're looking to get into, the work from home stuff. And subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button as well to help get that message out there. And if you're interested more in learning about, what are the skill sets you need to develop to become a pen tester, check out my beginner's guide to ethical hacking on the screen now. I'll see you guys right over in those videos, in fact. And thanks for watching.